I honestly don't remember much about the original Grudge or the American remake. Only that we watched it with a bunch of friends and one of them said something really dumb that still makes me laugh. But yeah, as far as the actual movie goes, I was never a fan, so when I heard they were making a new one, I basically just brushed it off and went on my merry way. Until I realized it's directed by Nicolas Pesci. And in case you don't know who that is, he made a movie called Piercing that I found to be very intriguing. It had some issues, but it was unique and had a very interesting tone to it. It was also very well shot and directed and had a lot of style to it, and I was impressed by it. So that's more or less why I decided to give this a chance. I'm also a fan of Andrea Riseborough, who stars in it. But I don't think I would have watched it just for her sake, which is interesting. Because she turned out to be my favorite part of the movie. She's really good in it. And the other surprise was that she was pretty much the only part of the movie I liked. Because the rest of it is a bit messy and it did not do much for me at all. But let's take a step back and recap what the actual premise of these movies is. So there's basically this spirit or whatever that puts a curse on a house. And if you enter said house, you are now cursed and you can't escape it. And that's all and that's it, and there's really not much else to it. It's pretty basic. And in this particular version we follow this cop played by Andrea Riseborough, who stumbles upon a case that appears to be tied to this curse or whatever it is. Which I guess brings me to the first big issue, the curse spirit thingy. Because beyond the basic premise I just outlined, there seems to be no logic to it. There's no rhyme or reason to how it behaves and what it's capable of and not capable of. It just seems to do random things or whatever the filmmakers found to be necessary. Which is not a strong basis for a horror movie. There needs to be some sort of rules and logic established. Otherwise anything can happen and it starts feeling incoherent and messy. Which is exactly what this movie is, and not only from that perspective either, but also from the point of view of the narrative and the structure of it all. Because there are at least 3 different timelines going on, the first one being the current storyline. The second being the backstory that led to that storyline, and then we have the backstory to that backstory. And it just keeps jumping back and forth between them all while attempting to create some sort of semblance of cohesion. But while I was watching it, it just felt messy and unfocused, a bit all over the place. Now I will grant that by the end of it, it does all tie together and it makes some amount of sense. But for most of the runtime it still feels disjointed and messy, nonsensical even at times. And none of the storylines are even remotely compelling, except for the main one. And that was purely because of Andrea Riseborough, because she commits to this role and knocks it out of the park. Which is made even more impressive by the fact that she's given very little to work with. But yeah, beyond her performance and a couple of genuinely creepy moments, I really struggled to find much to say about this as far as positive things go. But the list of things that didn't work for me was pretty comprehensive. And the story and the writing is just scratching the surface because some of the performances weren't even that good. Nor did I really like the overall look of the movie, and the direction and the editing didn't impress me either. Which I guess brings me to the end that was about as predictable and lame as one might expect. And overall this movie just felt like a pointless waste of time and I did not like it. However, would I recommend it? Nope, definitely not. Do not waste your time. So I'd say skip this one, or you could not do that. After all, I'm not your dad. But hey, what are your thoughts on this? Have you seen it? Did you like it? Let me know. And if you enjoyed the video, maybe give it a thumbs up or sub to the channel because that would be fantastic. And if you'd like, you can also support me on Patreon or PayPal through the links in the description. And as always, I appreciate you and thanks for watching.